Good morning. Today is the 2nd of Sivan and the 22nd, I believe, of May. Right? Well, now it's the same number. Okay. And we're. Huh?
Why is the second and the 22nd the same?
It has a 2 at the end. Least significant digit is the same. In any case, we're on the mimer in the essay Vet Mitzvotai Tishmoru. No, sorry. In Bechukotai Telechu. It's the second in Bechukotai Telechu. And we're on page 94 in the Kutei Torah, which is also 47c. We're at the top of 47c. V'zeu inyan kriyat Shema. So now everything that we studied is now going to give us a way to contemplate this every day when we're davening. How's it going to work? Remember, what did we see? We saw that there needs to be a nefesh sichlit, a tzelem, every day between the divine soul and the animal soul. So what do we have there? Shema Shem Ayin Rabati. Right? It's Shema has a large major Ayin. Shin Mem Ayin. So the Ayin is large. Hainu Bchinat Or Shivata Yamim. So it's the name Shem Ayin, the name of Ayin, which he says alludes to the light of the 7 days. What's the light of the 7 days? The light of the 7 days of creation. Right? Those are the 7 days, Ol Shivata Yamim, that's how many times the Baal Shem Tov was called, because he's like the light of the 7 days, and it also alludes to the fact that what we saw before, it was on Friday, we saw Ol Shivata Yamim means that the sun and the moon will be 7 times as strong. They will go back to being the way they were during creation, before the creation, in fact, it says. So we'll be able to contain the lights of the world of chaos inside the world of rectification. I want to tell you something completely revolutionary. I just heard this late last night, that Rav Ginsburg wants to give a seminar on China. On China. On the whole East, but mostly on China. And why does he want to do that? Because what?
Yeah, B'nai Abraham. And Abraham sent his son.
Well, maybe.
Far away.
Could be.
Sent him to China.
But the main thing that we see about them today is that they're godless. They have no God at all. Any. We're not even talking about like Avodah Zarah.
Well, there are some, but they've killed them off.
Yeah, they don't like God. You can't talk about God. The Russians had God, and then the communists threw God out. But they have a very strong. They went back to it. So today, you know that I think we talked about this once, that Putin's nuclear arm of the army is run by clerics. Have you heard about this? They're like in distant, remote locations, and so the way he keeps morale up is that he made this into like a religious organization. So the whole nuclear branch of the army, because that's his only safety card, get out of jail free card. So he's over the last 20 years he's made it into a religious organization, completely Russian church. So they're very frum, so to speak. The whole West is very frum. Everybody in the West. There's nobody in the West that's not frum. The only place in the world that people are not frum is China. Yeah. Said you're talking about people who already got tired of Christianity and haven't found their way at the Yiddishkeit. They're interim. But the place where there's never been any God is China. It's unbelievable. So he says China is today, like now in our age, and this we need to teach our children how to get along with them. They are the world of Tov. They represent today the world of Tov, where there's no Hashem. And you have to think about how to include them within the vessels of tikkun, within the vessels of rectification. So that's going to be a very interesting mailach that he's going to do. In any case, so in Shema, we have this ability now to bring the ayin, the large ayin, into the world of tikkun, into tikkun, like we said. And that's the whole point of raising the sparks out of the animal soul, doing the birur of the animal soul, and connecting it to the divine soul. Except you need, as we'll see, you need the nefesh sichlis, you need the intellectual soul in the middle in order to accomplish this. So the ayin is Ol Shivat Hayamim, the light of the world of Tohu. So the 7 days are actually the 7 days before the creation. Before I said it was the 7 days of creation. It's the 7 days before creation. In the Arizal, he doesn't say this, the Rashash says this, that we know that there was a there was a Shabbos before the first day of creation. That everyone speaks about. There was a Shabbos before. But then the Rashash continues it further, and he says, if the 7 days of creation documented in the Torah, they relate to the world of Tikkun, the world of Brudim in the Arizal, the world that was then reconstructed from what shattered. So the 7 days before that, they're the world of Tohu. What was the first day of those 7 days? Let's go backwards. So Kaf Hey was the first day of creation. Kaf Dalid was the Shabbos. Kaf Gimel is Friday. Kaf Bet, right? So Kaf Bet is Thursday. Kaf Aleph is Wednesday. Kaf is Tuesday. Monday is Yud Tet. And the first day of the world of Tohu is Yud Chet. What's special about Yud Chet of Elul? Chayelu. So it says the day, and this is a big teaching in Chabad, that the day that the Baal Shem Tov was born, that's why he's called Ol Shivat Hayamim. He's the light of the first day of the world of chaos. It's like he's a neshama, like Moshe Rabbeinu. Like that's why we read about it. And remember, we had the mimer, the Moshe Rabbeinu in Parshas Shmos. That Moshe Rabbeinu's soul is from the previous Shemitah. He's from the world of Tohu. The same way is Chai Elul. It's the first day of Tohu, and the Alter Rebbe and the Baal Shem Tov, they're both from there, meaning they know how to bring in the world of chaos into the world of rectification. So it says this is a kavanah that we all have every day. When you say Shema, the big ayin is from the world of Tohu. That's where it came from. So whenever you raise something up from your animal soul, it's reconstructing the world of chaos. It's like you're bringing the world of chaos back into its proper place. There's sometimes that the word et means that this is tafel to this. The one thing is secondary to something else. When you say ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha, you shall love Hashem in such a way that you become tafel, you become like attached, almost like meaningless next to Hashem. It's like you include yourself within Hashem. That's the meaning. The Gemara says this in Nedarim and a number of different places when it discusses language, how people speak. So he says sometimes it means that you want to say that I'm im, like I'm completely with, to such a degree that I don't exist separately. Liyot b'bchinat ha'ava, so that your love can bring you to this state where you're one, entirely one with Hashem. V'tafelu batel Hashem avaya v'litkalel be'echad. So what's it doing? It's saying Shema ve'avta et Hashem lokecha means that I'm taking all these lights and I'm attaching them to Hashem completely. So that's the general idea of raising the sparks of the world of chaos that was shattered and bringing it back to the world of tikkun, bringing it back to Hashem. And then he says, what does it mean? B'chol vavcha, shu b'chinat nefesh ha'be'emit. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to raise the b'chol vavcha. My heart is usually where we say that the animal soul is. It's in the left side of the heart, not anatomically, but at least representatively. And then, why is this the nefesh ha'be'emit? Because revi'id dam shebalev. We discussed this, I think, that it's only a quart of the blood in the person is the nefesh be'emit. When it says that damu nefesh, like he quotes in the Tanya, that blood is the soul, in this case the animal soul. So it doesn't mean that the animal soul is all the blood. What it means is that there's a quart of blood in the beginning. When you slaughter an animal, the revi'it dam is all that needs to come out. Okay, and that's dam nefesh. It's called the first quart of blood, or I guess you would call it like a pint. It's less even because a revi'it is revi'it alog. So revi'it alog, a log is a pint. So it's a quarter of a pint, something like that. So that's called, in any case, that's in the heart. And then when you say bechol nafshecha, bechinat nefesh asichlit, bechinat tzelem hamchaber anal. Then it gives us a new chiddush. When we say bechol v'cha, bechol nafshecha, bechol modecha, the bechol nafshecha, the nefesh. What is nefesh? Nefesh means I. That's what we began with. Because when we say ana nafshik taviti avit, what does that mean? That I wrote myself. Nafshi is I myself. Nafshi, atzmi. It's like literally in Hebrew would be ani et atzmi. Katavti vemasarti. Taviti avit. I myself wrote and gave it to you. And when Hashem gave the Torah, it's like He gave Himself. That's the acronym for Anochi. So nefesh, b'chol nafshecha, that is the nefesh hasichlit. This is big chiddush. He's never said this before, as far as I know. He didn't say this in Tanya, because he hardly even deals with the nefesh hasichlit. But here he's telling us, nefesh hasichlit, the tzelem that connects every day the divine soul and the animal soul, that's called b'chol nafshecha. And when you can take the power, the strength of the animal soul, and you can transform it and turn it into being tafel, making it attached to godliness, and you do this through your intellectual soul, through the explanations that you have every day, then it becomes the divine soul. And the divine soul is alluded to in Bechol Me'odecha. Bechol Me'odecha is with all your might, but really it means, as he says now, bli gvul, without any limitations, limitless. Bechol Me'odecha really means that you go beyond your limits, that you have to go beyond the limits. And that's what we said before about Moshe Rabbeinu, that the Rashbi says to him, with your eyes you can't see, but with the eye of the mind in your heart, there you can see. Why? Because there, that's what's called Re'uta Deliba. It's a will that's greater than the will that you have in your mind. This is a higher will. It manifests in the heart. It doesn't manifest. In fact, this is going over this now in the Parsha classes that I give every day. But naso et rosh bnei gershon gamhem. What does it mean to elevate the head? Kitisat rosh. Where are you elevating the head to? So the explanation in Chasidut is I'm elevating the head to the heart. Obviously not to the physical heart. Because the head is not limitless. It's only the heart that has that ability to carry opposites, to break to hold a paradox, to break barriers between things that are logical and not logical. That's the special quality of the heart. And that's exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu complained, that he can't see Hashem directly. So Rashbi in the Zohar tells him, so you'll see him with the eyes, mind, and the heart. Okay, so that's what we do when we say Shema. B'chol levavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol meodecha. B'chol meodecha is the divine soul. Kidichtiv hinei yaskil avdi arum v'nisa gava meod. About the Mashiach, Yeshaya says, behold, my servant will be successful. He will rise and he will be carried up like naso v'nisa v'gava, and he will become most high. Meod, very much. The meod at the end is the fifth level. You see, there's 5 levels here. Yaskil, yarum, v'nisa, v'gava, and meod. That's how it's explained in Chasidus. 5 levels here. The fifth is meod, and that is the yechida. That's like the limitless aspect of the divine soul. אשר בשביל זה ירדה הנפש אלוקית למטה. Why? So now what do you get? You get that that's what the divine soul gains from coming down into the body. That as much as the divine soul was completely spiritual and with Hashem before, it was lacking the power of the animal soul. Rov tvuot bekoach shor. There's strength in the animal soul that the divine soul doesn't have. And so it came down to gather that strength, to transform that strength, to make it part of its own. And then when it rises up, it can rise to an even higher level than it was before it came down. That's the chidush that the divine soul receives from coming down to work with the animal soul. It receives what we call ba'alei tshuva, that a Baal tshuva can stand in a place where a tzaddik gomer can't. The tzaddik gomer is the divine soul before it came down into the world. But after it came down into the world, what can you do? It's always working with the animal soul. And the animal soul is a Baal tshuva. And the Baal tshuva, because it starts out thinking only of itself. It doesn't know about Torah and mitzvahs. And you have to work with it. You start working with it like a child. The child doesn't know anything from Torah and mitzvahs. If you let him...
if you wouldn't do a child about tshuva.
Well, not the child himself, but his animal soul, yes, because in the beginning all that his animal soul is interested in is food and sweets and candy and tricycles and whatever else. And you slowly, with the help of the intermediate, the tzelem, the intellectual soul, you begin to teach him how to appreciate higher things. Until slowly, the whole point is, there's a whole topic. What do you do with the powers of the animal soul? So usually in the Tanya it says, if the animal soul hits you during the middle of davening, what do? You ignore it. Why? Because he says you can't lift it up in the middle of davening. It's not the time. So he says it's like a non-Jew, somebody comes and bothers you with the money you owe him, or with this, or that. You tell him, not now. Like later. We'll find the time. I'm not running away, but I can't do it right now. Right now I'm connected to Hashem. So that's the usual initial response. That not all the times are good for elevating the animal soul, especially not when you're davening. So then you should be focusing on being v'avta et Hashem elokecha, being tafel leHashem, just being connected to Hashem. But the Baal Shem Tov says this is not the overall strategy. It's just that right now this is how it is. By the Baal Shem Tov, you're supposed to raise the foreign thoughts, the animal soul. Everybody agrees. Alter Rebbe also agrees. You need to raise it. Just don't do it right now, but you have to do it. So, what does it say about the Yetzer? Well, the Yetzer used to be the animal soul used to be called the Yetzer. So, what does it say about the Yetzer? Ezu Gibor Hakovesh et Yitzro. Who is strong? A Gibor, a strong person. The one who conquers his Yetzer. It doesn't say who chases his Yetzer away. It doesn't say ignore it. It's not the person who ignores his Yetzer that's a Gibor. Who captures it. So the Baal Shem Tov gave a mashal. He said it's like a person who knew there's a thief who comes to steal from him. He says there's two types of shop owners. One, when they lay in wait for the thief, and when the thief comes, they scare him away. There's another shop owner that when the thief comes, he captures him. He turns him over to the police, and then he vouches for him, and he brings him to work in his shop. He says the Gibor is the guy who captures, not the guy who chases him away. He's chasing him away, so what? He's going to steal from someone else who's not there. What did you gain? He says, no, the whole point is to change him. The whole point is to fix him, to sweeten him. So you have to capture him and then take him to work for you. So that's the whole goal of the animal soul. It's not just I dodged this bullet, dodged that bullet, I keep dodging bullets, and now I didn't do an Avera, very nice. It's very good, it's the first stage. But when you have more strength, you have to actually capture him. And you have to come and tell him, you're going to work for me. And what turns out? That he has abilities that I don't have. He can do things that I can't do. That's the greatness. That's the rov tvuot bekoach shor. That the animal soul has abilities and power and strength that I don't have, that I, the divine soul, don't have. And so I need to not just to get away from life, like the song that the Rebbe used to sing with Tzama, Echdi Turin Malko, right? This guy goes to the market, doesn't sell. The point is not to come out of the market without losing anything and not gaining anything. He says you go to this world to gain. You don't go to this world to stay the same. So how do you gain? You gain from the animal soul. That's what you're supposed to transform. And it gives you the me'od. It gives you the strength to go beyond the limits. Because before the soul came down, it was counted. So what we're counting now in the Parshas is like the state of the souls before they come down into this world. How do I know that the wilderness was a waste of time? Because when they came out of the wilderness, how many were they? Pretty much the same amount. There's 603,550 when they came in, and 600 and something and change when they came out. So that's like the market. What happened? Nothing happened. Because in the wilderness they didn't work on the animal soul. There was no work on the animal soul. Everything was godly. It's like they were in the tzilus the whole time. That's why they have numbers. Right? But in the future, Asher lo yimad velo yisaper. That's what he just said, that when the soul is before Hashem, they all have numbers. They're all numbered. The whole point is that they become numberless, that they go beyond numbers, so they can't be counted. It says in Zechariah, "V'haya bnei Yisrael, v'haya mispar bnei Yisrael kechol hayam, asher lo yimad v'lo yisaper merov." That the number of the Jewish people will be like the sand of the sea. So some people understand this too literally. And you come and say, oh, you know how many Jews are supposed to be? 100 billion, I don't know, whatever number you Google. No, it's not talking about that. What it's saying is that if now we're numbered, meaning we're limited, then in the future we won't be limited. You don't have to think about number as how many physical bodies there are. That's not the point. Every physical body, every Jew will be at such a level that he'll be limitless. She will be limitless. And so then it's like the sand in the sea that has no number. Of course the sand in the sea has numbers. Of course you could count it if you really wanted to. That's not the point. The point is that when I look at it, I see that it's limitless. It's like it looks like it can't be counted. So that's what we gain from being in this world and dealing with the divine soul, with the animal soul. כי נשמות ישראל, again, כי מקודם הייתה בבחינת גבול ומספר. כי נשמות ישראל נמשכו מבחינת זון עולם התיקון, מבחינת כלי. So what's our problem? That our neshamas came from the world of rectification. And the world of rectification is a limited world, because when it wasn't limited, that was the world of chaos that broke, that shattered. So you have to be careful how much you do. So in the world of rectification, everything is counted, everything is exact. וכמו שכתוב, חי השם אשר עמדתי לפניו. It says, Eliyahu, that I stood before Hashem in the past. What does it mean I stood before Hashem in the past? I stood before Hashem when my soul was above, before it came down into this body. But then it was limited. מה שאין כן אחר ירידתה בחינת צלם לברר להקפיה לסטרא אחא, כן, ולהדר Nehorin, but after I came down into this world, I received the tzelem, I received an intellectual soul, meaning the divine soul can't do it by itself. But every day that I come down, this is the idea, every day when I wake up in the morning, I receive a new tzelem. And then I come back down into this world, and I come to rectify, to fix the animal soul. Leakafia, to force it, to coerce it. Bechol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, with all of your heart, with all of your soul. Yachol eledei ze להשיג אהבה מבחינת אור אינסוף, מבחינת בכל מאודיך. And then, when I do it, bechol levavcha, the animal soul, rectify it with the intellectual soul, bechol nafshecha, then I can reach the infinite light to receive the infinite love of Hashem from Bechol Modecha, from that. Shemeolam Hato. And this comes from the world of chaos, where the animal soul is from. It has glimmers of the world of chaos. And that's called Ol Shivata Yamim. That's called the light of the 7 days. That's what it really means, that in the future the sun will be 7 times as bright and the moon will be 7 times as bright. This is all talking about Mein Ban. It's all talking about what later the Rizal says is the names of God that build the world of rectification. So it becomes 7 times as much. 7 times as great. What do you mean it'll become 7 times as great? What's it? Because they'll be able to not just be the Mein Ban of the world of rectification, they'll become the Mein Ban of the world of chaos, which shattered, which wasn't able to hold together, but now it will be able to hold together. ואף שאי אפשר להיות בבחינת גוף וכלי, מכל מקום הערה מזה יוכל להיות בכל יום, ובמיתתן, אחר שנברר הכל רואין. That's what it means רואים. וזהו היה מספר בני ישראל אשר לא ילמד ולא יספר. So what is he saying? He's saying in your lifetime you won't be able yet to see fully what it means to be limitless. You won't be able to see. You don't become Superman, where suddenly you can leap buildings in a single bound. That you won't become. And I'm using a parable, obviously. Meaning you won't yet be at a stage where you can look at a book and read it in one moment, in one glance. But you can get a glimmer of it. What does it mean you can get a glimmer of it? That if you work and work and work on this book, what does it mean to work on it? Not just to try to understand it. It's to break the animal, to coerce the animal soul. Every time it wants to get up, you'll sit down anyway. I'm going to force you to sit down and sit down and sit down. And then, when I force you this, I come to a point where it is possible for me to see the whole book in one glance. Like if I really dedicate myself to it, okay, then I break into the area of meodecha, b'chol meodecha, without limitations, and that is called death. That's what he said. Then you'll see, but you also have it during your lifetime. You have after you pass away, you'll see everything that you created that was infinite, everything that you broke. That's why we keep saying that even if a person has a bad midah or a bad behavior, an addictive behavior, whatever it is, that they can't break in this world. They can't. They've tried everything. It keeps coming back, comes back, comes back. Don't give up. Why? Because the very fact that you fought it for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, that itself is exactly this process of raising the sparks, in the same way that you shouldn't get tired of eating, because eating is also raising sparks. And a person doesn't say, but I ate 10 years ago, why do I need to eat today? No, he says, okay, every day has its birur, every day has its clarification, every day has its work with the animal soul. And so when I finally finish everything and I finish this world, then I'll see the limitlessness that I received from doing this. So I'll see the Ol Shivata Yamin. Then I will see the lights of chaos. I will see the lights of chaos, which are infinitely stronger than the lights of Tikkun, the lights of rectification, and that will become part of me. And that's what it means that Zechariah says, "Vayam mispar bnei Israel kechol hayam asher lo yimad velo yisaper merov." That's what it means. It will be infinite in number, not be infinite number of Jews. This is a prophet. He's not talking about numbers. He's not a demographic scientist. He's not questioning these questions. He's saying they will be limitless. They will have achieved this level of V'chol Meodecha. So we'll continue tomorrow. And
Let me know if you can.